I always say, if you are super successful, don't date, engage, or marry anybody.
Is that why you're engaged now? Is because your career is like, You're like, meh.
Yeah, it's over.
I tried.
can sound like, you know
I
what?
tried.
Welcome to episode D of Beyond the Exchange. Now we're moving into letters, where we talk about everything but exchanges. Yep, that's why it's Beyond the Exchange.
I like that,
right?
yeah.
So not only do we not talk about stock exchanges, but we don't talk about like exchanges of like Christmas presents. Like no exchanges. This whole podcast is beyond the exchange.
We also don't talk about Bruno. The kids will get that.
Oh, okay.
They'll get that reference.
I was gonna say, who's Bruno? But I was like, wait, we're not supposed to talk about it, so I'm probably not supposed to ask.
For all of our children listeners, you guys got me.
Nate, are these like, because I know when you upload to like YouTube and stuff, you have to say it's approved for children, like made for children. So especially this episode,
Yeah.
this is made for children.
Got to get those views.
Yeah, because of Bruno, whoever he is. Is he this age as like Waldo? Like where's Waldo?
No.
All right. I'll think through it some more.
Okay.
All right. So, Brian, love having you here. Thanks for coming every episode. I feel like we co-host this thing together.
We do.
Which we do.
We do.
We do. All right. So, as we kick things off, usually we start with a random topic. You make a sound, I hit a button. Gilded Age.
Yes.
Airplanes, the NHL, whatever. But today, you kind of had a little topic you wanted to talk about.
I did.
Yeah. And so I'll hand it over to you to kick things off.
Well, I know this is a topic that's near and dear to your heart, but I thought it'd be good if we were to do
Pyramids?
a podcast about podcasts.
Okay.
Or at least we can start there and we can see where it goes.
Meta. Not the scumbag company, but...
Wow, scumbag.
Yeah, I know.
That's aggressive.
Yeah, I know. It's all of a sudden it came out of nowhere. Like I had no particular feelings about Meta until that moment.
Wow.
And then I became very angry. So I'll have to talk about that with your therapist because I don't have one. So if I could borrow yours, I don't even know if you have one.
I don't have one.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we're not of the generation where you need therapists. Not because we're perfect. I mean, God knows I am. But Brian, he's a mess. Ooh, sorry. Okay, so what podcast about podcasts?
So my thought was, I know this is a topic, like I said, that's very near and dear to your heart. You talk about it all the time.
I've been listening to podcasts for almost 19 years.
Yeah, well, that was my next point was the fact that you often really love to taunt or throw out there how long you feel like you invented the whole class.
Yes. Well, it's more just I want people to know I'm better than them. That's the only reason why. It's nothing like whatever you might be thinking. It's not that. It's just I want people to know that I'm better than they are.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But funny quick thing before you go into your podcast about podcasts, because this is about podcasts. So the first group of podcasts I ever downloaded almost 19 years ago was one called Skeptics Guide to the Universe. You may have heard me talk about it. It's a podcast about science and critical thinking. And I love that. I still listen to it to this day. It's the only podcast that remains from that first batch of podcasts I ever downloaded almost 19 years ago. This weekend, they were recording they do live recordings from all over the world. This weekend that just passed, they did a live recording from Lawrence, Kansas. And so months ago, because they announced on their podcast, I got tickets. And so this past weekend, I went there and watched them, the first podcast essentially I ever listened to and that I still do listen to. I watched them live. It was pretty cool. It was kind of fun. But I tell you what, it was weird because even though obviously I've heard them speak every week. So they've done a podcast every single week for over 20 years. Have not missed 1 week in the entire 20 years they've been doing podcasts. They were doing podcasts before it was available on iPods. You would get it streaming off of their website. But, been listening to them for so many years, every single week. And I know what they look like because I've seen it on their cover art or whatever.
Sure.
But I've never, ours is video and audio. I've never watched them. I've always listened to it. So to see the voices that I know unbelievably well come out of those faces that I also know, but separately, was very surreal. I don't know why. It was just weird. I'm like, I'm not used to these voices coming out of faces. It's usually just invisibly into my ears. But that was very cool. And then I came back from Lawrence and we went to the Nate Bargatze concert, or not concert. But
I was there too.
Yeah, were you? Friday or Saturday? That's when I was there. Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went Saturday. I was far up, like where emperors sit.
We were on the floor.
Yeah. Oh. Wow. Okay.
I do think so. While it was a gift for my wife, I bought tickets to see him, and then we have a concert that we're going to this weekend, which is her favorite artist is Jordan Davis. He'll be here on Friday. She is a country music lover, and so so I got her those two gifts. But I will say, going to a stand-up show, sitting on the floor, it probably doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, and that's what I said.
It does not matter at all.
That's what I said to my fiance. I said, when we were talking about tickets, I'm like, it's a comedy show. It doesn't matter where you sit.
Right, especially because they have the big
Jumbotrons,
like three, like all the way around, 4 different sides. And so you can see every facial expression.
Right.
Even when it's like, so when his back would turn to us, we're like, well, I'm looking here now. I'm not looking at his back.
No, exactly.
It was like it was in the round.
Yeah. For those people who aren't theater buffs like Brian is, in the round means that the stage is round and there is an audience on every side of the person. So yeah, incredibly sophisticated. So 2 quick things from that, and then we will get back to podcasts about podcasts. One, he had like 4 openers, which I've never seen before.
Yeah,
I've seen like the MC, an opener, and then a guy. But Nate's big, so he's got 4 openers, or MC and 3 openers. One of his openers, well, they were hilarious. But one of his openers, his first name starts with a G. Well, 2 of them did.
Gary?
Not Gary, the other guy. I can't remember his name, but he was the guy who talked about peanut butter. He did like 10 minutes on peanut butter.
He was unbelievable. I laughed so hard.
The whole time. For all 8 minutes, whatever he was on, nonstop. Like stomach hurting.
I actually almost liked him more than Nate.
That's the same thing. It was a very different style. His was a little more energetic and Nate's not, but it was the same thing. And my fiance, same thing.
How can you do 8 minutes on peanut butter and be laughing the whole time?
Amazing. Yeah. And so, the as he walked off the stage, this G guy, they said, he's going to be at the KC Comedy Club or whatever.
Yep.
Immediately got on my phone.
Same.
Got tickets. Yeah.
You got tickets?
Oh, you didn't get tickets?
No, by the time. So I was like, I created a reminder. Hey, when you get home, book these tickets. Yeah. And so I waited till I got home and it was sold out.
Sold out. Yeah, because I did it like as he was walking off the stage, as the MC was saying he's performing KC. I was doing it right then. And then yesterday.
How much?
And then yesterday.
I got $10. Can
I don't.
Can I get those tickets?
Yeah. Oh no, but thank you for the $10. No, but he.
I was hoping that would work.
But then I saw something, I can't remember where, or maybe it was an email I got from KC Comedy Club, whatever, that he sold out in an hour, which was the fastest they've ever had someone sell out. But he's doing extra nights now. So you should go back and check.
Can we pause the broadcast? Just 1 second.
Because, so they're opening extra nights for him.
Yeah, I was so disappointed because, again, he was hilarious. I mean, just so funny. And his escalation of just like the tempo just kept getting elevated. And I'm going, it was really good.
It was so good. Yeah.
And then, of course, Nate Bargatze, I mean, he's really funny, but a totally different delivery style. Totally different. Yeah. Really, slow and deliberate. And
and that's
it was fun. It was a good night.
Yeah, no, it was. That's awesome. There was a second thing I had, and then I promise we'll get back to podcasts. But you might be in luck because I think I forgot what the other thing was about. But because it was Nate Bargatze and we're going to Lawrence okay, cool. So back to you, Brian.
I was just on the on the podcast front, one of the things that I found and what made me think about even talking about this was that there are some podcasts that I listen to and I keep acquiring more and more that I find interesting. And again, it's about delivery, it's about like content, et cetera, that makes me interested in various ones. But I did find that there are sometimes I have to be in the right mood for a certain podcast.
Yes,
so it's like you collect these different podcasts that you listen to. I'm like, nah, I don't, I'm not feeling that one right now.
Exact same way.
But I am curious. So what would you say are your favorites? Like when you're in the mood for it, like this is the one you're like, this is it. Yeah,
that's a good question. So I'm going to pull up my phone here just because I don't want to, I turned off my phone right? because I didn't want what has happened twice before to happen again. But I think I mostly have them committed to memory. So I'll do 3, maybe 4 or 7. So Skeptics Guide to the Universe, right? When I was talking about, I listen to anytime, day or night. I love it. It's my longest lived podcast for a reason. Another one that I really like is, it's called My History Can Beat Up Your Politics. Yeah. And it's a guy, he was probably also one of the earliest podcasts. I've probably listened to him for 17, 18 years.
Wow.
And he's just a guy. He's not even a historian, like by profession, but he is so well read on history and on like current events. And so he'll talk about current events, but put it in historical context. Congress just vetoed a big bill, but that's the way they did that is it actually happened twice throughout history. Once with John Adams, when blah, blah, blah. And like, he'll put it in context to, one makes it even more interesting, but also a lot of times with politics of outrage, it's like, this has never happened before and I can't believe. And now sometimes that's true, but many times it's not. And he'll be able to put it in that historical context. But like, actually, it's happened twice like this. And here's kind of what happened afterwards when that happened. So My History Can Beat Up Your Politics. That's interesting. Yeah, it's a very enjoyable one. And then another one, gosh, there literally are so many that I like. One is This Week in Startups with Jason Calacanis, who, funny enough, that's his long-running podcast. That's probably been on for 14, 15 years. But now his All In podcast, which I don't listen to, that is way more popular than his This Week in Startups.
I would say the All In podcast was, I think, the first podcast that I listened to with any regularity. So our Chief Technology Officer, Rigo Neri, he found it very interesting. He thought it was really great. He said, "Hey, you should listen to this." And so I started listening to it on a fairly regular basis. And the thing that I loved about it was it touched on a lot of different things. It touched on a lot of stuff with relation to startups, which, we're a startup company. It talked a lot about technology. We're a technology company. And then it also sometimes occasionally touched on politics. Yeah. And I loved the way that and economics, like different things with economics throughout the country. And so I loved all of those various topics. But the thing that I really liked about the group of 4 people there was that we don't do a good job in our world today of arguing, right? Or disagreeing on topics.
I disagree with that. I think we argue perfectly, you knucklehead.
And it's taking everything in hand not to just flip this table. But
that'd be awesome.
You know me. Can you imagine me just going into rage?
Your wife and your daughters would just be like staring, blinking at the screen, like, what?
But I love their ability to disagree with each other and still maintain being like really close friends. Right? But unfortunately, I think it's like the ratio of politics to everything else they talk about has
now gotten
just really off the charts. And I'm like, it's interesting, but not quite as much.
Yeah, it happens. As I call politics, the black hole of topics. It just ends up, its gravity overwhelms everything and just subsumes it and consumes it. And it's just all about black holes from that point, or politics.
But just on the political side for them, though, is the fact that you have 2 that are kind of right-leaning, one that leans really right, and then you have 2 that are left-leaning and one that maybe leans a little extra left. So it's just a good balance of conversation, but that their differences of opinions also apply to startups, and it applies to economics, and it's everything.
Across
Like all the things they can disagree and they can agree, and they can still be friends.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because it reminds me of my friends, where we never really talk about politics much, but these are guys that four of us have been best friends since we were all in first grade. So almost 45 years.
Man, you're old.
Best friends. Yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing. I'm only almost 50, and we've been best friends since we were for 45 years.
Wow.
But we text each other throughout the day, every single day. And I mean, we just savage each other. And the funny thing is because my now ex-wife would occasionally, she'd just look at these texts and she would go, "Oh my God, are you guys friends? Like, how do you talk to each other like this?" And their wives occasionally, same thing. They'd be like, "I don't understand. It seems like you hate each other." And it's like, no, I don't know if it's because we've been best friends for so long or what, but we just have the ability to just destroy each other and just keep on going. And
it's funny. So I have a group of friends very similar where we can destroy each other and just like.
What's the name of your text group? Under the Fifth Amendment, I advise you not to answer that question.
Yeah, I'm gonna plead the Fifth. But what's funny is that oftentimes, to your point, a lot of the women in my life can't understand that. They can't wrap their brains around it. However, my two daughters have completely embraced that sense of humor where they can just, especially my oldest, she can really dish it out.
She can.
And so when she went through college, there were a lot of times she had really difficult times having relationships with other women because I don't
That's
get
what did you just call me?
What did you just it's like, I'm being funny.
Yeah, I'm just busting your balls. I never.
I do declare.
A lot of clutching of pearls.
Yes. But yeah, she has no problem with that whatsoever.
That's funny.
But she worked for us 3 different summers.
She
did.
So she did.
You know that sense of humor.
Has a mouth on her. No, she's great. She's great. Your other daughter, I could take her or leave her.
Wow.
Yeah, but Sienna.
Wow.
Sydney. So let me think of one other podcast because there are just so many good. I mean, because I don't know if we talked about this on previous episodes of Beyond the Exchange, but I don't listen to music.
Wait, how come you haven't listed Beyond the Exchange as one of your favorite podcasts?
Oh, that's true. That's a good point.
Full circle.
Yeah, Beyond the Exchange. The part I like about most is how handsome the hosts are. Wow. Like,
dashing.
Movie star much? I mean, that's what I think when I watch that podcast. It's unbelievable, those guys. I mean, I'm straight, but I would marry that Jeremy guy. Wow. What a heartthrob. And he's funny too.
He is something.
Yeah, but smart. It's like, I mean, he'd be funny, but smart too and handsome. Like that guy seems to have it all.
I'm going to take just a real quick moment to call out something. So Jeremy, I think we had an episode a while back. Jeremy was our COO at LODAS. And he left to start a dream project of his earlier this year. Can I just say
Peg6.com.
How much more productive our office is with you being gone. I almost got a spit take. That would have been amazing. Oh, I wish I would have just delayed that just a slight second. You'd have had a mouthful of water. I'd have been soaked, but it would have been worth it. So worth it. So podcasts.
Yeah, podcasts, yes. Gosh, there are just so many. Because I was saying I don't listen to music.
Right.
So all I listen to are podcasts, like when I shower, when I run, when I'm in the car, so I'm able to consume. And you know what I started doing too? I started putting it on 1.1x speed. So it goes 10% faster.
Yep.
So I'm able to get through. I tried it at 1.25 and I could follow it, but I didn't enjoy it as much because it lacked sort of the humanity, like the pauses and the things like that. So I was like, that's I wasn't enjoying it. So, but still 10% increase the amount of podcasts I listen to. You can fit a couple extra hours in. But a podcast, I started listening to it. No, this isn't a podcast worth listening to. I mean, it is, but it's not worth mentioning. You know, a podcast that I do enjoy, but it is dry AF. But I like it. It's We the People by the National Constitution Center. So it's a guy, Jeffrey Rosen, who's the president of the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia. And it's almost like your history can beat up my politics, but it's him, and he has a panel of, he has two other guests, usually from opposite-ish ends of the political spectrum, and they'll talk about something that's happening, something the president did, or the Supreme Court did, or whatever it might be. And they'll talk about it in the context of the Constitution. Like, is it constitutional, or would they be able to do this, or how could they change that? And they go through like a lot of details around the Constitution and things, and historically maybe how its court cases have been applied to this. And I think it's really enjoyable, but you do have to have a certain area of interest.
I think for me, most of the ones that I listen to tend to be around, again, startups and that type of thing. So what is it? I don't know if they call it BG squared or BG2 pod, but it's Bill Gurley, Brad Gerstner. They have a podcast where they talk, again, everything from startups to technology, and a lot of AI gets into the conversation, but just a touch of politics, but mostly they try to avoid it unless it's specifically impacting startups and that type of thing. So I really enjoy that. I already mentioned kind of the All In podcast. If I'm looking, one other that's I'm a huge fan of biographies generally. And so I think you're the one who who introduced me to the Founders podcast.
Yes,
I love the Founders podcast. And because basically, if you don't have time to read the entire biography, it's a podcast about the biography, and spend maybe an hour. That he takes notes and highlights them and says, this is the gist of it, but it goes into a lot of detail and gives a lot of additional insights and thoughts. And sometimes we'll actually read multiple books about that person or that genre or whatever, and we'll bring that.
And he'll also do a degree of connecting the dots and pattern recognition and say, hey, this guy, Jeff Bezos did this. If you remember my episodes on the biographies of, JP Morgan and Rockefeller and, somebody, Elon Musk, like they all had that quality, or they all did this. And so he connects the dots between those. And it's interesting. I loved that podcast, but I don't really listen to it, or I rarely listen to it because I don't really have an interest in, modern entrepreneurs, I guess. I'm more fascinated with like the old entrepreneurs, the Gilded Age, and even before that, because these were, two things. One, they were kind of like, they were pioneers, but it was more like he talks about, this guy, invented the checking account or the savings account. And it's these things of like, oh my God, I just thought of these things as having existed, for time immemorial. Like there's always been saving accounts, going back to the Romans, right? But, so he talks about these things that were the first time.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, right. I guess there did have to be a first time somebody mailed out catalogs, or things like that. And I just find it so fascinating, sort of, proto business, right? When things weren't set. And I also find that's where the best lessons are learned, because for the modern entrepreneurs, you can kind of get caught up in the modernity of it and go, that's how he did social media. So, I guess, I think of my social media this way. Versus if something resonates with you from entrepreneur from the early 1900s or the mid 1800s or the 1400s, there is some universal broader truth there, because the fact that something from 250 years ago still applies today, right? You can take that and sort of generalize it in a more powerful way, versus get caught in the nitty-gritty details because it involves something,
that also already could apply to you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
No, I get that.
But that's a good. So I don't have any more. I've listened to all the old timey ones about the old entrepreneurs, so I don't really have any more to listen to.
I'll be sometimes choosy about the topic of like who they're talking about. But because I started relatively late with it, there's like hundreds that are in the past. And often he'll reference, I did this podcast back on episode 323.
He's good
and so he'll pull that up and reference it. I'm like, that'd be really interesting. So I'll go back and I'll listen to the ones in the past. But like I said, I relatively new listener to that. So I think maybe over the last year or so.
Yeah, but it's a good podcast.
But occasionally, though, I like to listen to certain ones that are, let's say, more for fun or interesting. So I like to learn something most of the time, but occasionally I need something just to be light and whatever. And so I think there's one that I listen to pretty regularly, and it's Smartless. It's Will Arnett, Jason Bateman, and Sean Hayes.
Yeah.
So together they're like best friends that came together because of COVID, and they were doing some type of a Zoom call once a week or something like that. And they're like, hey, we should turn this into a podcast, and then bring on different guests.
Right.
And so to me, not every episode is a home run, but there are some guests that they bring on, and it's like you get to hear their story, which is kind of a little bit of like the genesis of why I thought this would be great. Is like not only is it an opportunity for you and I just to catch up, but it's also, I love being able to bring people that are in the industry and be able to show their personal sides too. Right.
Yeah. And that's why Jason Bateman's coming on next week.
That's right. So stay tuned.
Although I'd rather have Justine Bateman on. Because she's more, I had a huge crush on her growing up, right? Because she was on Family Ties. When we were kids, early teenagers. And she was great. I learned something from her and from an episode where she was featured in particular, which is I know what SCUBA stands for because of that episode of Family Ties.
Self-contained underwater breathing apparatus.
That's right. Yeah. And that, she was. I
wonder if that's where I learned that.
It could be because it was this song, or it wasn't a song, but it was they started to chant it as she realized that she had miraculously retained one piece of information because on the show she was dumb.
Yeah.
And Alex, or Michael J. Fox, but his character Alex P. Keaton, her brother, was trying to help her, and she just couldn't remember anything. He was so frustrated, and then. She said something to the fact, she's like, I'm sorry, I can't remember anything. Like, I can't remember that SCUBA stands for self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. And he goes, what did you say? She's like, what? He goes, what does SCUBA stand for? She goes, self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. Again, self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. Again, self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. And they were all happy and thrilled. And it was probably the only question she got right on the test, but still, it was great. So Justine Bateman, maybe we'll ask Jason next month.
Okay, we'll say, hey, this is great that you're on here, Jason.
Right.
But
let's.
How can we get Justine?
Right. And that's when you'll slip him the $10 bill.
Oh, okay.
And that's how we'll get Justine on. Yeah.
I like that.
I did too. I'm full of good ideas.
But on the Smartless thing, going back to that real quick, they I listen to, again, I have to be in the mood for it. But the most recent episode had Lionel Richie on it.
Oh.
And so I know you're not a music guy.
Yeah. No.
But hearing...
He's the Muppet
Hearing
guy, right?
somebody... No.
Oh.
Hearing somebody's had such an amazing career.
Yeah.
Won so many awards, written so many songs, not just for himself, but for others.
Yeah. And his daughter was a huge reality TV star.
Yep. That's what most people know him for. But he also happens to be...
he's
a pretty
good
decent singer and music writer. And of course, he was the one who, big part of our childhood also, was the one who wrote, Hello, but We Are the World. So he
wrote We Are the World?
Yeah. So, and he was responsible, he was hosting the Grammys the night that they recorded it. So everybody was going to be in the same town. And so it was for the purpose of solving hunger. And just to hear the story.
I didn't realize the backstory.
His perspective of it is it was really, really interesting. And the one other person that I think was maybe my favorite episode, and again, just because I come from a classical music background.
John Madden?
John Williams.
Oh, John Williams.
John Williams.
Oh, okay.
But that one, just knowing what he went through, I mean, everything was...
Did he do Star Wars?
Star Wars, Superman, Indiana Jones.
Oh my God.
Star Wars, like trying to think, Jurassic Park.
What?
E.T.,
oh my God.
Like so many.
That's so amazing.
Many. But his career has just been just off the charts. But understanding like the little pieces of things that impacted him for how he actually wrote that music. incredible. Like,
Yeah.
So to hear people tell their stories that have these full lives. So I enjoy that, and it's funny.
Yeah.
Right. The show is also, typically pretty funny.
Yeah.
Guys that roast each other throughout the entire thing, which is also really good.
It's the best.
But then there's other podcasts that I don't listen to, but they create clips about them, and I do watch those a lot.
Right.
And one of them comes close to your home and current home is New Heights.
Oh, yeah. Jason and Travis Kelsey.
Travis Kelsey, that's right. And so I don't watch their podcast, but some of the clips that come out of it are really hilarious. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No, I haven't, but maybe I'll watch some.
But the New Heights you're referencing before, that's...
Yeah, that's from my hometown. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and one of the suburbs or townships or whatever in Cleveland is Cleveland Heights, which is why they call it New Heights, or at least part of the reason why they call it New Heights. But yeah, because it's funny because I guess he is connected to Cleveland and Kansas City, just as I am. I don't know which one's more important for the cities, but maybe
we know.
Maybe I know, but let's not hurt Travis's feelings. Yeah, but
he has been like not playing at his full potential.
No,
I think
true.
Things have changed a little bit since he started dating someone named. Finish it.
She's
Taylor
finished.
Swift.
Oh, Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. Yeah,
the singer, songwriter.
Did you say singer?
I don't know.
The singer.
The singer. Taylor Swift. Here in Kansas City.
Yeah. So since they started dating, it's been pretty bad.
No, I always say if you are super successful, don't date, engage, or marry anybody. That goes for both. I don't want Tay-Tay's career to go down the drain either. Yeah. Because she's focused on, Travis Kelsey.
Is that why you're engaged now? Is because your career's like, You're like,
Yeah, it's over.
I tried.
I tried. I peaked like 9 years ago. This isn't. You
left LODAS and you're like, I'm going to engage now.
Right. I'm in the twilight of my career now. So what do I care if I lose a step from getting engaged? And then married, most likely. It's the next logical step, typically, of getting engaged. Yeah, not everyone knows.
You're optimistic.
It is true. I probably shouldn't count my chickens. But there was something to say about Taylor Swift. Oh, right. She reminds me of, I can call her the modern Dolly Parton. Because not only is she an amazing singer-songwriter, but she is like an unparalleled businesswoman. Like there's nobody, I don't know, there's any performer in the music business who is better business person than Taylor Swift is. Yeah. And Dolly Parton was the same way. Like she was an amazing, still is an amazing businesswoman. And so I very much think of them like sort of in a class unto themselves, because they just, they're kind of like, and I'm sure you've already thought of this analogy, they're kind of the Jerry West of music. Right, where amazing Hall of Fame players, but also amazing Hall of Fame general manager. Right, and so they not only could perform, but I mean the business of music and even beyond. They just watch out is all I have to say. Watch out.
Yeah, to your point, I mean it's the ability to write the music, sing the music, and then even beyond just those two things, you also have the entertainment factor of being able to, in most cases, they refer to it as the it factor of being able to say, hey, I have this charisma that's, very, people are drawn to that. Right. But then to also be able to handle your business. Yeah. That's
especially musicians.
Pretty compelling.
Musicians and athletes, they are typically not good at business, but she's not only good, she's one of the best. Yeah. It's
super
impressive.
savvy.
Yeah. And what I also like about her, from a business perspective, not only is she smart and knows how to do good business, but she knows she has leverage and she throws her weight around, right? And I like that because that's right. Sometimes, especially in the music business where they are sharks, you can't be meek, and she ain't meek, and I love that. Yeah, so Taylor. If you're not, 100% on Travis, I'd be interested. I'm 100% on my fiance. Unless you're not 100% on Travis, then let's talk.
And I think she's coming onto our podcast in 2 months.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So next month, Jason
Bateman, right.
Bateman.
And then Taylor Swift.
Unless we get Justine. If Justine, then maybe Taylor takes
we bump her a month. Yeah, but she'll understand. She'll understand. Oh, Justine Bateman. Okay, yeah. Even if you're not going to suggest it, let me step back and I'll bump myself back a month. Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised that she never... she's done a thing here or there, but she never really, after Family Ties, she never did much. But I thought she was a good actress and I liked her. Do you know Alyssa Milano and I share a birthday, both December 19th?
Please tell me there's more behind that random fact.
Well, no.
Okay.
But where it came from was they were on TV around the same time because Alyssa Milano, which is what made me think of it, she was on Who's the Boss?
Who's the Boss, yeah.
Yeah. And although she was closer age to me than Justine Bateman was, and so I had a big crush on Alyssa Milano. She's actually a pretty good businesswoman too. That's oddly enough, or not oddly, just coincidentally, as we were talking about Taylor Swift. But it's funny because Justine Bateman's character, her name on Family Ties was Mallory, and that is kind of the reason why my niece is named Mallory. Is because it was my sister called me. She said I'm down to 2 names, Chase and Mallory. And I was like, you got to do Mallory. You got to do Mallory. And it was because of Justine Bateman and the imagery that conjured in my mind. I'm like, that's it's got to be Mallory. And so my niece is named Mallory, thanks to Justine Bateman. I'm going to tell her that story. I think she'll like that.
She'll like that.
She will. I think she will like that. Although I don't want to count my chickens because we got to put in a good word for us. And that guy's notoriously a so we'll see. Nate, you should probably beep that. Don't include his name, but keep in there.
We just lost our children viewers. we had our children viewers just for their moment of Bruno, and
we lost them.
We lost them all.
Well, I think if you beep it, you can still bleep it.
Maybe
one of my favorite, segments is when I think it was on Jimmy Kimmel's show where he does unnecessary censorship.
Oh, yeah.
And he'll bleep out things like at a press conference where people aren't swearing, but the place he bleeps them out makes them sound like they are. It cracks me up every time. Oh, so funny. So funny. One last thing that cracks me up every time. This is new. I just discovered this or was exposed to it like 2 days ago. It's a 90-second clip of people being yanked by their dogs.
Oh, I saw the same thing.
Did you
Literally
really?
saw it, and I showed it to my daughters.
Oh my!
So funny.
Oh my gosh! I mean, these you get pulled into walls. Some people literally go horizontal, yanked off their feet, and they are Supermaning.
So we're watching it, we're laughing. And the very last one, at least in the one that I saw, was this poor elderly
old
woman.
Yes, she did. All you saw, she was there. Saying something to her dog, and then all of a sudden you just saw her feet up here leaving the screen. That was that was the same one, and it was delightful.
Yeah, if I ever get injured, my wife has a really hard time trying to discern which she should do first: laugh or help. She always you know me. You know this is the thing I struggle with. I see you get hurt. I want to laugh, but
that's a good wife. That's a good wife.
She's a keeper.
She is a keeper. All right. Well, I think we're kind of hitting on time.
I think we are.
Yeah. All right. Beautiful. Well, I want to thank you, Brian, co-founder and CEO of Pegasus. Nope. Of LODAS Markets.
Yeah.
Allowing me, co-founder and CEO of Pegasus, to join you, co-founder and CEO of LODAS, here on Beyond the Exchange, where we talked about everything from podcast to podcast. So join us next month, where we will talk about everything from Jason Bateman to Justine Bateman.